So let me begin.
Yes.
So it gives me great pleasure, and also I feel very honored to be meeting my old friend of 55 years and Vijay, his wife, and to be interviewing my own friend. So let me briefly tell about our connection. And it's kind of selfish thing. See, I joined for PhD in Indian Subscience at Bangalore in August 1970. I joined Maths department. Very quickly, I shifted to Physics department. When I met Rangarajan, he may not remember, the corridors, he greeted me, he and Viswanathan. And we became, I think he was 2 years senior to me. They were all source of admiration. And I'm very happy that our association continues. And I am at this stage now. Thank you very much, Rangarajan and
Thank you.
Geeta. So let me ask something. So how did you choose physics? Were you fascinated by it when you were younger days, or it was an accident? Please tell me.
Professor Baskaran, I am very happy to be interviewed by you, and I am happy about the first question you have asked me. Let me answer it. Today, I would like to say that physics is the first love in my life today. But when I finished school in 1958, I had no special aptitude for physics. Actually, to put the record straight, I have to inform you that I had a grand aunt of mine whom I loved very deeply. She loved me even more than me. So at the end of my school, she pleaded with me, saying, Rangaraja, please don't leave me and go somewhere else for higher studies. Stay here. In deference to her wish, I decided I will not go for engineering or medical studies, which would have definitely taken me away from Srirangam, which was my native place. But then I had to think what I will do in Trichy, which was the nearest college town. I joined St. Joseph's College, but then I wanted to do philosophy. I said this to an uncle of mine. He said, this is not good for you. You will not get any money in life. Choose some more lucrative way of life. Then I thought, let me think of mathematics. But then after some introspection, because at that time I was mature enough to think about these things, so I considered it and I felt that I was not good enough for mathematics. So what was the second choice? Physics. So I settled for physics.
So then you finished your master's. And how did you go to Bangalore, Indian Subscience? Because there are many opportunities to go to other places. Why did you choose IISc?
No, there were only two things which I considered. One was training school in Department of Atomic Energy in Bombay. And then another was Indian Institute of Science. That's because I had an uncle living close to the institute in Bangalore, in the Malleswaram area. And we used to go visit him during every summer vacation. So I was familiar with the institute for a long time already. But somehow I didn't think so highly of the institute in Bangalore. I preferred to go to training school in atomic energy in Bombay. So I had an interview call from Bombay. But it was pouring cats and dogs when I reached Bombay. And they had fixed a interview in a place called Harchandra building. I had no notion of where this was. So completely drenched in rain, I went to this interview and I did not do very well in the interview. So I was not selected. Immediately they told me that very day I was not selected. That was the first time I was cut down to my size by anybody. Till then, I was always felt pampered everywhere. But then it was a big nose cut for me. I could not swallow it. Luckily, my father sent me a telegram saying that you have got an interview call from Bangalore. Go there from Bombay and attend the interview. So I attended the interview. And at the interview, there were, in 1964, there was an interview in which there were 7 professors who interviewed me. Later, I used to call them Saptarishis of IISc Bangalore Physics Department. They were Professor R.S. Krishnan, Professor P.S. Narayanan, Professor E.S. Rajagopal. These are the only people for whom I have the photographs. Professor V.S. Venkatasubramanian, Dr. G. Suryan, Dr. R. Srinivasan, and Dr. M.A. Vishwamitra. So they interviewed me. At the end of the interview, Professor R.S. Krishnan called me and said, "Go home, get your personal effects and come back immediately." So I had to go immediately, pack my things and come back and join the institute. Professor Krishnan informed me I would be getting an allowance of 250 rupees every month, of which he told me straight away, you should buy books for 75 rupees every month. I agreed and went, and there was no other entrance examination. As a postscript, let me add that my PhD work was on the nuclear magnetic resonance of some non-metallic solids. I got my PhD degree in the year 1969.
So, since, the 7 professors you mentioned, I also knew very well. So, can you briefly tell about your stay at IISc Bangalore? Very briefly.
That's very, very difficult. I in fact gave a lecture in the alumni branch. Alumni Association of IISc has a branch in Chennai. And one of my colleagues in IISc from the engineering department was its organizer. So we meet each other during everyday daily morning walks or evening walks. So one day he told me, would you like to give a talk on your reminiscences in IISc?
Is it recorded?
I gave a talk on...
Is it recorded? Is that talk?
I have no idea.
Okay, very good.
He is no more now.
Okay.
I have to find out. But I can tell you very roughly. My stay there was from 1964 to 1970, when I won a scholarship to go to Oxford. So I left Bangalore at that time after my PhD. Between 1969, when I got my PhD, and 1970, I was a postdoc and continued with my research guide, but worked on a different topic, which was a slightly different topic, electron spin resonance of some paramagnetic complexes. Then I went to Oxford. My work there was on spectroscopy of color centers. Then my guide asked me to come back from Oxford to join Bangalore. Professor Satish Dhawan was the director at that time. He told me when I came back, I was called a senior research fellow at the physics department. And he told me my mandate was to set up the central cryogenic facility at the institute. So Professor Srinivasan was my boss at that time. And together we set up the central cryogenic facility after 3 years, between 1972 and 75. This work was there.
So it's behind the big workshop, behind the central workshop.
Yeah. Okay. Then again, because I was waiting for a faculty position in Bangalore, which was not forthcoming. In the meantime, I got married and my wife got a fellowship from the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation to work in Hamburg. She left for Germany, and I accompanied her leaving the institute. And from Berlin, I was working in Berlin. I will tell you later. Then I came back to IIT Madras.
I see. That's the way your trajectory went from IISc to Berlin to IIT Madras.
From Bangalore to Madras,
Madras.
via
Oxford.
Berlin and Oxford.
Oxford, I see. Wonderful. So, in physics department in IIT, you have done many, many things. So, you have several questions about your achievements and your beginning. So, who was the head of the department when you were there?
Professor R.S. Krishna.
No, in the IIT physics department when you joined. IIT physics department.
IIT Physics
Yeah.
Department. When I joined the IIT Physics Department, Professor R. Srinivasan was another R. Srinivasan. My guide or research guide was one R. Srinivasan, whom I used to refer as Alpha R. Srinivasan. And there was another R. Srinivasan in IIT Madras. I called him Beta R. Srinivasan. There was also a Gamma R. Srinivasan in the University of Madras at that time.
Yeah, biophysics. Crystallographer.
Crystallographer. And I joined IIT. At that time, Professor R. Srinivasan was the head of the department, but only for a short time, about 6 months or so. Then the headship was changed to Professor C. Ram Shastri. After that, he was succeeded by Professor Shobhanadri. In fact, a couple of years later, Professor Shobhanadri had a full term as HOD when I was there.
So you were supposed to have started the labs, low temperature instrumentations at and liquid helium plants, one of the pioneers in India. So can you briefly tell about your experience in setting up the lab, how you started doing research?
I should say, at the time of my joining IIT Madras, there was already a nucleus of cryogenic activities in low temperature physics and mainly cryogenics at IIT Madras. And I joined the lab. Soon after my joining, at that time there were not many research students, there were 1 or 2. They were all mostly working on hardware involved associated areas, mainly at liquid nitrogen temperatures. One of the main things that I decided to do soon after joining IIT Madras is to direct my research activities towards liquid helium temperatures, extend it. So I had 2 or 3 research students who joined me. The first one, I asked him to set up. I had to ask them to start with making instrumentation. So the first one was asked to make an AC susceptometer, magnetic susceptometer, which he used for studies of magnetic properties of materials. Then another student, I asked him to set up a vacuum adiabatic calorimeter for specific heat measurements. This went on. That was a microcomputer controlled vacuum adiabatic calorimeter. The third one was, another student was set up a continuous flow cryostat for electrical resistivity measurements of polycrystalline materials. Now, this AC susceptometer was something of a workhorse during the later days when high temperature superconductivity was discovered. The Materials Research Center people with whom we collaborated turned out compounds in dozens every day. And we used to work very hard to measure their superconducting transition temperatures using this susceptometer.
It's very heartening to see that low temperature facility is thriving and surviving in IIT Madras now. Thanks to people like Sethupathi and your contemporary, they are doing very well. So even now, they are, this liquefaction is one of the places in the world where it's constantly there. Very nice to hear that. So you started it. Very nice. Next thing is I wanted to ask you about Who was the director and deans at that time? What was your impression?
Professor K.V. Pandale
Pandale, huh?
was the director when I joined.
Hmm.
Soon, Professor Narayana Murthy took over from him.
Hmm.
I think Professor Pandale passed away or retired. I don't remember. Then from Professor Narayana Murthy, it went to,
Natarajan?
I think, I don't remember. Maybe, I don't remember.
Okay, yeah, I see. So you have seen how many directors during your
Several,
stay here?
at least 8 or 9.
Was it Indrasan?
Indrasan was in the middle of my term, around 1984.
Uh-huh.
He came to the physics IIT Madras, and I was promoted from being an assistant professor to that of a professorship during his tenure. In fact, many of my colleagues went to court against the institute, protesting against my promotion. And luckily, with the help of another colleague, Professor VVGS Murthy, who was also later became the head of the department, and Professor KVS Ramarao, who was my predecessor as head of the department later, there was a court case against both myself and Professor Ramarao. Together, we went and hired a very famous lawyer, V.P. Raman, and he argued my case, our case, and got the whole thing, won the case for us. So we were properly installed as professors in the department.
Wonderful.
So it was with a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
I became
you survived
professor.
And continued here, my
Yes.
God. So you were also part of you were the director of Joint Entrance Test.
Yeah, I was.
What was that experience?
Much later in 2000, in the year 2000, when the two-tier system was introduced in the JEE examination. The two-tier was a basic test and then an advanced test. So that system was introduced for the first time when I was chairman JEE. And it was a bit of I had some trepidation whether it will work and things. There were a lot of mixed opinions about this. But I should say that it turned out to be a successful
Even
experiment.
now it's doing very well.
Yes.
I think at that time when you were there, 5 IITs were there.
Yeah.
Now there are 23 IITs doing very well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So then before I go to family and so on, I have a question about, I had some question which I forgot. So you have seen visitors. What about visitors to your department and group? Your outstanding visitors.
No. Actually, during my tenure, the IIT Madras low temperature laboratory became a kind of important center of low temperature physics in the country.
Yeah.
So, and especially because of the high TC superconductivity and our own performance in this, in association with the MSRC, Professor Subbarao. So, because of that, this brought in additional visitors. Very often we had visitors from all over the world. And I was also the editor of a newsletter on high temperature superconductors for which was published by the Department of Science and Technology. So all this made us rather famous. I should say, and also without being very arrogant, I can say we were somewhat famous. And many visitors visited us, especially one delegation of Russian scientists came.
Yeah.
One of they were from the Institute of Physical Problems in Moscow. Later, I visited them in Moscow and took part in a conference there. And there was one particular scientist there who was the original inventor on the Russian side of the scanning tunneling microscope. He told me, if you are interested, I can teach you how to construct a scanning tunneling microscope in 1 week's time. I told him, right now I cannot do it. I have classes to handle, other responsibilities. But if I come to Moscow, I'll learn it from you.
Also, I remember before high temperature superconductivity revolution took place, your group was prepared because you had done this wonderful work on chevron phase compounds.
In fact,
You were pioneers.
in fact, I would like to say,
Yeah.
I heard about Professor Subbarao, who was at that time in IIT Kanpur. I heard about his work even when did not, before my joining IIT Madras. Then one of the first things I did when I joined IIT Madras was to visit him in his office. And right away I came and told him, let us work together.
Subra, yeah.
So our association starts from my first PhD student, Professor Ranganathan, who worked on the rare earth pyrochlore compounds prepared by one of his Subbarao students. Another student of mine started work on the electrical resistivity, Dr. Rangarajan, who later became my successor in the low temperature lab. He made measurements on electrical resistivity of polycrystalline samples made of these chevron phase superconductors. And the third student who was working on specific heats started and thermoelectric power. So his thesis was on the specific heat and thermoelectric power of both the rare earth pyrochlore compounds and the chevron phase superconductors.
So when did people like Sethupathi, Nirmala?
Much later.
Much later, I see.
In
They
the
joined your group.
1990s, late 90s.
Late 90s. And also my former PhD student Muthukumar, he joined you as a fantastic postdoc.
Sethupathi and Muthukumar were,
Yeah, please, yeah.
Sethupathi wrote to me a postcard from Coimbatore, introducing himself and saying that he has a PhD from Russia, Moscow. I was surprised. It was just a handwritten postcard. I told him to come right away, and I offered him a position in one of the projects for him, and he became a very reliable worker, especially managing the newly installed national facility involving a superconducting quantum interference device magnetometer, which has a very high sensitivity for the detection of magnetic flux. So I asked him to be in charge of the regular running of it for all the people who visited our lab from all over the country with samples made by them. Sethupathi performed a lot of measurements for all these people.
And the squid got Nobel Prize this year. Last year, superconducting quantum interference device got Nobel Prize, incidentally.
The macroscopic quantum tunneling.
Yeah.
So I offered many courses on superconductivity and its applications, and also physics at low temperatures in the physics department, along with other courses like physics of high vacuum technology and cryogenic engineering. So these were all introduced during the 1980s and 90s.
Indeed. Also, any collaboration between experimentalist and theorists, Muthukumar and
I forgot. I started talking about Muthukumar. Sethupathi and Muthukumar were almost contemporaries in my lab. Professor Baskaran, you only sent him. Muthukumar was your PhD student. And you sent him on to me. He was a very bright boy. And at that time, he was a boy. Now, so I found him very smart, had good ideas. We worked together and produced a paper on tunneling in superconducting junctions, which I presented in an international conference at Grenoble. And Muthukumar left me soon thereafter.
So now we've got some idea about your beautiful stay in IISc and then Indians of Technology. What about your personal life? When did you meet your first love?
My second love, I would say. First love was physics. Really, I should be honest about that. But my second love is not an inferior position. It was almost the same. So neck and neck. So one day I was walking in Oxford, sometime around the late 1970, August or September. No, I was not walking. I was looking at a lecture. At that time, it was a lecture at the Oriental Institute in Oxford on some paintings from Bengal. So I was curious. At the time, I was very homesick also. Anything about India, I was very happy to listen to it. So I wanted to, I went to that lecture in the evening and I sat there. There was about 10 people sitting. They were already there. I entered the room and there was a chair which was vacant. I went and sat there. She was just in front of me, looking at me, because she has already noticed me coming to the Oriental Institute library. She will tell you about that later, maybe. So I became friends with her immediately. And then later I was curious to know that she was working on the interplay between Sanskrit and Tamil. That was a topic which was very dear to my heart. So I probed further. She told me that she was working on Jivaka Chintamani, a Tamil epic. This made me completely interested in her academically, and we became regular collaborators for a long time till she finished her PhD and submitted a
She worked
thesis.
on Jivaka.
We had daily discussions at home about what she wrote. She will write a page or two, and I will be discussing it with her and then coming more. This went on till she finished her PhD. And then this collaboration has continued. Soon afterwards, we got married in 1974. And then, since then, we have been continuously collaborating till today.
So when did you join this International Tamil Institute?
Oh, well, it was in 1984.
84. That's when I joined.
1980.
80.
Yes.
I joined Math Science in 87. That's when we met probably.
Yes, that's
Around 87 or 88.
Yeah, because Alexander von Humboldt Fellow Foundation, they presented me a computer for my work, research work. So I was new to computer. So I asked my husband, I want somebody to help me. Then he suggested, you can ask Baskaran. So that's how I came to you. And you were very helpful. And I was able to do a concordance with the help of computer. For the first time in Tamil, I made a concordance to Mullai Patil with a software which I have got it from Germany, from a professor. And it was really very useful. Thank you for your help.
Thank you. Tell us briefly about your children, your family's children.
Yeah. We have a daughter whose name is Priya. She was studying here up to MSc, which she did.
Physics?
Then I asked her, when she finished school, I told her I can find a place for her in one of the physics departments in Madras, in Chennai. I even told her Women's Christian College. I had a friend who told me that she will be glad to take my daughter. When I told her, she told me, Daddy, I am not interested in anything that does not move. So she expressed very clearly that physics is a subject on objects which do not move by themselves. So she was not interested in that. So my hopes of getting her into physics were dashed. Then she went into chemistry as a concession to me and joined Stella Maris College. Then from there, she went to the Institute of Postgraduate Medical Sciences in Taramani to do medical biochemistry.
I see.
She was a gold medalist in that year in MSc. Soon after that, she got a place in the medical school of University of Miami. And she did a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology from Miami. So that is regarding my daughter. She is also musically very accomplished, and she is now teaching all my grandchildren, 4 of them, classical Carnatic music weekly.
And sorry, I
my-
forgot. You also have a lot of interest in music, both of you.
Yes,
So you can
yes.
tell about it later, maybe.
Coming to my daughter, after my daughter, we also had a son whose name is Suresh Rangarajan. Both of them are now living in the Bay Area. They are living in their own houses,
Bay Area,
which are
California.
at,
In California.
San Francisco.
Hmm.
And they are living within 7 minutes of driving distance from each other. So when we visit one of them, we visit both of them.
Great.
So we have a great time with our grandchildren whenever we go there. We spend half the day here and half the day there. And weekends completely.
Do you tell stories to your grandchildren?
Pardon?
Do you tell stories to your grandchildren?
I told them whenever they are in a mood to listen.
He has done his PhD.
At first, soon after his engineering basic BE from here, he went to UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara, to do an MS in fiber optic communication engineering.
Oh, I see.
With Professor Dan Blumenthal there. And he went there and he told me when he went, I asked him what is his aim. I was very particular that they should both, my daughter and son should both return to India after their studies. So I was very specific. But my son sir told me I am going to do only MS and then I am not going to do anything more. But later, he himself came to me at the end of his MS. He said, I would like to pursue PhD, work for a PhD degree in the same subject, in the same lab. So he got on very well and he got his PhD in the year 2006 or something like 4 or 6, 4 I think. So that very day he got an appointment and he started working there. And so both of them are fruitfully engaged there. So I have agreed to have them there.
So then the other question about IIT is this NPTEL program. NPTEL program is the most successful program.
Right.
And
one day, soon after my retirement from IIT Madras, I got a job in the Abdur Rahman University and Chennai Mathematical Institute for a couple of years to teach as a visiting professor. I was teaching Fourier optics there. And I was in the middle of my class one day and I got a telephone call from Professor M.B. Satyanarayana of Physics Department. He is retired now. He called me and in the middle of a class, he asked me, would you like to give a course on condensed matter physics at NPTEL? I was very happy. I told him I could do anything better. I readily agreed. So from immediately thereafter, I started giving the lectures at NPTEL. And this went on for nearly about 5 years or something. It took a course. The course had 47 lectures and 17 tutorial sessions. So this was a course which was, I think, very favorably received by the international community of students.
Now NPTEL has grown very widely. This year, I'm told that January to April, about 1,000 courses are online, freely to everybody, across 23 IITs and IISers and IIScs and so on. So do you have any projection of NPTEL, how it is going to change the world? Because I'm told that you don't need to go to college.
I am a fellow who is had been now. So still, I am very happy and proud about the development of NPTEL. But recently when I visited, I found the atmosphere there has changed a lot. One thing is I found a lot of students working and listening and watching.
Thousands and thousands,
But at the same time, I found the lectures are not given in the old place. I think they have changed the venues, the theater or something for some official reason. I think the office, The entire NPTEL wing has been shifted in ICSR, and it has become much more business-like and impersonal now. That's my feeling.
I see.
When I was there, I used to be on first name basis with almost everyone there. But now I don't know whether that is the situation. And I found everyone had an office and they confined themselves to that office. Maybe I am wrong, but I found the atmosphere is less personal. It is more impersonal now. And to put it in other words, more business-like.
But I'm told that NPTEL has put like IIT physics in the world map. For example, Balakrishna's courses on quantum mechanics is very popular.
Yeah.
And there are what about those kind of courses which are very useful everywhere, like your course on electromagnetic theory. So not only people locally see it, but all over the world people see it. What's your feeling about it?
I think that's a very great effort.
Yeah.
And it has struck a chord everywhere. And it has become very popular. But at the same time, one has to be extremely cautious when addressing an international audience. And one must be prepared for brickbats as well as bouquets in giving these things. Sometimes the communication is not very good. And it's not like a classroom atmosphere. So it is extended, it's a distance education. So it has both its advantages and disadvantages.
But it's just to talk, since you mentioned advantage, I was told about somebody who studied 10th grade. He listened to some talks for 5 years, this spoken tutorial run by IIT Mumbai. That boy can speak only Tamil. He learned programming very deeply. Applied to Google in Tamil, application was in Tamil. And then they interviewed him, they grilled him for 3 hours. Now he's in San Francisco, I was told. So it has changed the life of many people.
Yeah.
If you are careful, you can take advantage of that. So before I finish my thing, I would like to ask you some questions about Professor Rangarajan's involvement in Sanskrit and Tamil for a long time. Can you elaborate and tell us about it?
Well,
He's a very unique person, a physicist interested in Sanskrit and Tamil language.
Well, to tell you the truth, these are the languages, and his flair for all these languages, it brought us both together.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it is incredible, because it's not flattery, but it is incredible the knowledge of Sanskrit and Tamil he has.
I see.
Because even Tamil scholars and Sanskrit scholars will not, I don't know, I have not seen anybody like this. Because and main reason for this is he has an incredible memory power. Because he doesn't forget anything which he has learned. Even what he has learned from that standard, now he can recite.
I can't remember what I learned yesterday.
Yes, he can explain what it is. Because of our life, every incident in every day, he will illustrate it with some verse from the Kalidasa or from Valmiki or from Kambaramayanam or from Manimagala. So he remembers everything. I'm blessed to live with a walking encyclopedia because he's so good in all these languages. So for an example, when I was an Alexander von Humboldt Fellow in Germany, my late Professor Alstorff, who was my collaborator, he published a manuscript which is written in Prakrit, and he wanted to, because the Brihtkatha is origin for many of the narratives in Indian literature, and so he has come across this manuscript, and it is a Prakrit manuscript, and he published it. It's called Vasudeva Hindi. So I learned Prakrit from him so that I can learn also I can read the text. So when I come home, I discuss with him and I tell him how Prakrit goes, how it is different from Sanskrit.
He corrects you.
No. He learned everything and now he is even better than me.
I see.
Better than me. And he helped me very much in reading the Prakrit text later. And even now when for my research, if I want any Prakrit passages, he explains it much better than what I understand.
I see.
So it is incredible his knowledge of Sanskrit and Tamil. So
he continues to read a lot of Tamil literature.
yes,
and even now.
he does. Now we have both translated Manimahalai, the Buddhist Tamil epic in Tamil,
Yeah, many,
and in English we have translated it, and now we have given it to OUP publication, and it will be published, I think, this year.
OUP is
Oxford University
Oxford,
Press.
wonderful.
Yes, Oxford University Press. So,
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of Oxford, because I want to ask him next question after you finish it
Yes.
about his experience in the great Oxford. Yeah, please continue with your.
yeah, that's what I would like to say, that he has helped me immensely, both in Sanskrit and Tamil, and also he has a very good knowledge of Indian history. So he could correlate everything to the literature and the historical events, and which I found it very helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All my books, he is the best critic. He is the first critic and the best critic. So everything goes only through him, and because he looks into so meticulously each and every section of the book, and he said, okay, now you can publish it.
I see.
So
very nice. So like a sounding board.
Sorry?
Sounding board, they say. Sounding board.
Yes. You are right. You are right.
I see.
Yes.
Very nice.
So his knowledge has been. I've been very lucky. I should say I'm blessed to have a walking encyclopedia next to me all 24 hours.
Good. So Rangarajan,
I may add,
But
I
please.
am blessed to have these talents given to me by God. There's nothing special about me. It's just that I have some abilities which are given to me. So I am also blessed.
And you are all blessed because of this fantastic combination. Both of you are blessed.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
Thank you. So thanks. So I wanted to ask you about your experience in Oxford. Great place. I have been there a couple of times. It's a great
Thank
place.
you very much.
And I have seen Piles. And I
Yeah.
have seen Dorothy Hodgkins and so on. So please
Let
tell
me
us.
answer this question. I am very happy that you asked me this question, because my stint in Oxford, it was only for a short time. It was between 1970 and 72. But still, that is one of the happiest times of my life. Then I also met her.
Yeah.
And even academically, I must start from my mentor, Dr. William Hayes, who is no more now. He was passed away when he was 95 years old. He was such a prolific man. Fantastic output. He had something like 25 students working in different areas under his supervision in the whole of Clarendon Laboratory. And
Was E.S. Rajagopal also with him?
yes, I had Professor Rajagopal preceded me to Oxford.
Okay.
We were both on the same scholarship called Exhibition Scholarship. It is there was a world exhibition in Queen Victoria's time, which was in the year 1951. So it was known as 1851 World Exhibition. And the whole world participated in it because Britain was at the peak of its power. Then all the people came, and there was so much revenue from that event, that out of the proceeds of that event,
They
they
established a collection.
instituted there was a royal commission for the exhibition of 1851, and they instituted a scholarship in that memory of that event. Every year, 6 fellows were selected from all over the Commonwealth. Ernest Rutherford was one of the very first scholars to go from New Zealand to Cambridge on this scholarship. And then in my own time, Professor G.N. Ramchandran
I say.
was one. And then Professor E.S. Rajagopal
Yes,
was
I
another.
remember.
Dr. T. Ramasubba Reddy, who was my senior in my lab, he was another.
Oh, Subbu Reddy. I met him not long back.
Okay.
He is in Washington.
And there were many others. I don't remember every one of them. there were many people. Professor R.S. Krishnan,
Krishnan
who was also
I
an
see.
exhibition scholar, who was my head of the department. And he was Professor Raman's student.
Yeah.
And then Professor Ramakrishna, who was one of my thesis advisors, he was also an exhibition scholarship.
I see, J. Ramakrishna.
And all of us, then Professor Dr. Hayes was my mentor in Oxford. And then during my time in Oxford, I was rubbing shoulders with some of the topmost people. I have some photographs here which show Nicholas Curti. He was famous for proposing the nuclear demagnetization, adiabatic demagnetization, reaching microkelvins.
So ultra low temperature.
At ultra low temperature at that time. And then Dr. K. Mendelssohn, who was the student of Simon.
Yeah.
There was helium liquefiers were very difficult. And Simon showed a simple technique called the Simon desorption liquefier. He was famous for it. Mendelssohn was his student. Simon has, there is a very nice book by Simon called 4 Lectures. That was about principles of liquefaction. Then Rudolf Peierls was another one. He is the author of a very nice book called Surprises in Physics.
Yeah.
So he was there. And then Dr. B. Bliney, he was the Lee's professor of experimental philosophy. That's how the chief head of the Clarendon laboratory was known. He was the author of a big voluminous treatise on electron paramagnetic resonance of transition metal ions. And his book, paper in the Proceedings of the Royal Society on the crystal field effects in paramagnetic complexes was something like a Bible for all of us when we started on this.
There's a book, Bliney and Bliney. Are there?
Yes.
There's another book.
The electricity and magnetism.
Magnetism, I see.
But I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't. And Dr. Dorothy Hodgkin, she was not in the Clarendon laboratory, but she was within walking distance in the Department of Biology, Molecular Biology, crystallography. And she had many visitors from the Professor G.N. Ramchandran's Advanced Center for Crystallography. Dr. M. Vijayan, my senior in IISc Bangalore, was one of her visitors, one of her students.
I had the honor of listening to her in IISc Bangalore.
She got the Nobel Prize for solving the vitamin B12 structure. And I have seen her standing like this next to me in the marketplace, like any housewife buying vegetables. She was such a nice person. I cannot believe a Nobel laureate standing next to me and buying vegetables just like a commoner. She did not make any bones about it. Yeah. And similarly, from Oxford, later I went to Berlin. There I was in another important center called the Fritz Haber Institute, der Max Planck Gesellschaft. I have a photograph here of Fritz Haber with Albert Einstein when they were both in Berlin. And below that, I have another photo of my own humble self there in the Fritz Haber Institute.
Oh, is you?
Standing next to the cryo pump which I was working with.
I see.
And then below that is the AC susceptometer, which was constructed by my first student, Rangarajan. Then below that is the vacuum adiabatic calorimeter, which was constructed by another student of mine. So these are the experiences I had in Oxford.
So now that makes it very clear.
That's also a book which I don't have here, the one which is there. It's a book on cryogenics and vacuum. It was the proceedings of a workshop organized by me at IIT Madras. And I edited the proceedings of this with the late Professor S.P.S. Shastri. That was the proceedings of that, which was brought out by the Indian Cryogenic Council, South Zone, and the Indian Vacuum Society. That
so
was
your
a very
engineering background that also tells that you are responsible for BE's engineering physics program here. So it's very clear that you were also instrumental in starting the engineering physics program at
Yes,
Madras.
yes, that is another aspect. Well, that was started. In fact, the genesis of that course was started when I was during my tenure as HOD physics, head of the department of physics, and then I was involved in its formulation of its curriculum, passing it to the Senate, and making it a reality, because there were a lot of objections from my colleagues of the engineering department, whether such a thing is feasible and whether there will be job opportunities and so on. But I argued with them, convinced them, and everyone agreed. This was in addition to another companion course on MTech in solid state technology, which was started much earlier in IIT Madras physics department. Then the engineering physics, after I sort of retired once in 2004 when I was 60. But then the government of India may increase the retirement age to 65. And IIT Madras asked whether I would like to come back. So I rejoined IIT Madras. And that is the period when the engineering physics was actually started. So I was the counselor for their admission. Right from then, I became their faculty advisor. I requested the then head of the department to keep me as the faculty advisor for the entire 4-year period of their stay. So I went with them from 1 year to next, and a lab was, they required a new practical laboratory. So I started a lab on engineering physics in which Millikan's oil drop experiment was installed, and care effect. There are some of the somewhat rare experiments which were somewhat considered advanced there, and the students took to them. I had a bunch of 6 students. They were very good students. One of them is now in IISc Bangalore in the instrumentation department. Applied physics.
What's his name?
Baladitya. Baladitya Suri. He is involved in the quantum mission now. So he is a very favorite student of mine. But I had all the students there were very hand-picked and very bright. And
I can say proudly that engineering physics is doing extremely well now.
Yeah.
One of the engineering physics students is a faculty, Atreya now.
Yeah.
He's an assistant professor at IIT Physics.
Yeah, there was Supradeepa in IISc Bangalore who joined straight away from here to go to IISc Bangalore.
Wonderful.
Long back. That was again another photograph of Professor G. Guntharot, with whom I was a visiting professor in Aachen. That was soon after my sabbatical period in 2000. After I handed over, I quit as JE chairman. Then I went on a sabbatical again.
And that's your book, is Material
That was with Professor Guntharot. He was that is my material science book. Guntharot was working in spintronics.
Spintronics, yeah.
One of my MTech students was sent to him under the sandwich program of the DAAD, and he did his PhD. He is now in Vellore Institute of Technology as Dean of Electrical Engineering. At the same time, I authored a book on my native town, Srirangam, and called it A Chronicle of Srirangam during the last millennium. It was based on the Srirangam temple records, which had been edited and published as a book called Kovil Oruhu. Also a rare book by an eminent freedom fighter and former minister in the Tamil Nadu government, which was headed by Rajaji, named T.S.S. Rajan. Also a few short stories by the late Tamil writer Sujata, and my own reminiscences about my teachers. After that, I chanced upon a book in Manipravalam written in the Grantha script called Ramanujariya Divyacharitai. I have abridged it and translated it into English under the title Footprints in the Sands of Time. Later, Under the same caption, I have also authored a biography of another eminent Vaishnavite preceptor named Vedanta Deshikan. The photos of the cover pages of these books are shown here as slides.
What's his
why
name?
you
Yeah,
don't-
please tell about your music interested music teacher. Yeah, please tell us.
One day, I have to tell you a story again
Uh-huh.
in order to do
Yeah,
that.
sure.
I
Interesting
keep
stories.
on singing at home, non-stop, all the 24 hours. I have learnt many compositions by my own effort. So one day she was listening to me and she said,
Oh, you sing
yeah, I
Vocal.
sing loud.
loud, I say.
I plague all the people
Okay.
with my
The
singing.
background.
And then she was listening to me. And then she said, you sing rather well. Why don't you learn it properly from
yeah.
someone? I answered her, who is there to teach me? Unless it is M.D. Ramanathan, I don't think anyone else can teach me. At that time, M.D. Ramanathan was a teacher of music in Kalakshetra, and she was going to the Adyar library regularly. I don't know, without telling me anything, she went and spoke to someone, and finally it reached MDR. And one day I received a postcard from him saying, I understand that you are interested in learning music from me. If so, please visit me this Saturday. So I went and he asked me, without much ado, he asked me to sing. I sang as something very simple. And he said, Lakshiyam irukku, lakshanam da illa. That doesn't matter. So he started teaching.
So how will you say it in English? Lakshyam, the translated.
Your singing has lakshyam, aim, but not grammar.
Grammar, okay. Spontaneous.
Lakshanam is not there. Ilakkanam, lakshanam. So he said like that. And he was such a great musician, of preeminent musician, topmost. And I asked him, sir, if I come to you for learning, how much money should I give? He said, nothing. I said, sir, that is not fair. I have to pay you something. Sorry, no ruvagudu. He asked me to pay 100 rupees.
At what age was that?
Huh?
That when? How old were you?
This was in 1984.
84. Okay. After
He passed away in 1984. Because he passed away and I was also not well and somewhat busy at that time. I could not spend a lot of time with him learning. But I had unforgettable days with MDR. He is my Manasika Guru. He is my everything.
And you continue to sing, right? Even now.
Yes.
I
Wonderful,
listen to
wonderful.
him. I listen to only his music now.
And also you sing at home.
Yes.
You continue to sing.
I sing
Oh,
all
wonderful.
the time, even now.
Please
Yes,
continue to sing till you are
that is
100.
always the case.
Yeah.
Daughter is a very good musician.
I sing quite freely, whether it is correct or not. My daughter makes fun of me. I don't care. My daughter, now my granddaughter has also joined her. Making fun of. They are saying, Tata, I will go on.
So, and you have produced wonderful students. Can you tell briefly about your students? That's the last question. About your very
My
successful...
students, my God. Okay, I have written about it all in my book, another book of mine called Fest Shift, which was on the occasion of my 80th birthday. I think that is the best place to start on this topic. Now, when I turned 80, both my children are abroad in US, so they could not come because my birthday falls on 21st March. So that is an awkward time for anyone to come because children have their schools and so on. So I wrote to all my students saying, this is the case. If you want, we can meet here. Please visit me on my 80th birthday. Several of them responded. And after looking at the response, I was about a dozen or more. So from various places all over the world. And then I approached the Dean ICSR here in IIT Madras and took the conference room on rental basis. I asked them to come And they all assembled on my birthday in the ICSR conference room. I remember I asked you to preside over that meeting because you could not do that
Something
day
else.
for
I was
some
away or
reason.
something.
And instead Professor Choganadri ended up presiding over it. One of my BSc classmates, who was the head of computer science laboratory here, department, Professor S. Raman, he introduced me that day and shared with everyone his reminiscences with me as his classmate and friend. And then I went through a journey down memory lane with my students. Professor R. Ranganathan was present. He went from me. He was my first PhD student.
It was in Calcutta, right? Ranganath.
Yeah, he worked in Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics after going to France. He was a postdoc in France and then came back and also in Germany. And then he came back and worked in Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics. He is now retired and settled in Srirangam and Erode. He is there. And next to us, Dr. Professor Vasudeva Rao, who went from here to IIT Kharagpur in the Center for Cryogenic Engineering. And then he is now in Tirupati in the SU University. So he is still very much active in vacuum science. He has authored a book on vacuum technology. He is very popular. Then Dr. Professor Shankaranarayanan, he took over from me after I retired. And then unfortunately he is not very well now, so he could not come. Then there was Anasuya Raghunathan, with whom I started, and along with Professor Natarajan, T.S. Natarajan, a collaborative research program on conducting polymers. And another student, D. Srinivasan, both of them worked on conducting polymers. Then there were 3 or 4 lady students. Dr. Niraimadi, A.M. Niraimadi, again from Erode. She worked in specific heats at high magnetic fields and low temperatures. This was continued by Uma, Dr. Uma, who is now in Stanford. And then there was one Narayani Sendil Kumaran. She is now in IIT Delhi. And then there was Pattabhiraman, who was one of my very best students, but he is now in an associate professor in physics department, but he has some health issues, so he is not there.
So Nirmala was not your student?
Nirmala was not my student, but also my student. Because she attended my superconductivity course and she proofread my whole material science book. She is more or less like my student. Even though she was with Dr. Professor Shankaranarayanan, I do not have a joint research paper with her, but she is one regular person who wishes me on my birthdays and on Teachers' Days every year. And Nirmala is another one. Then there was one Dr. Angappan, who is now in Bangalore, and Umal Momin and Dr. Venkatesh.
Momin, who is in
whom you know. She is in Vellore Institute of Technology.
Outstanding.
Dr. Venkatesh is in Indore. Or Venkatesh.
Ganesh is not yours. Ganesh was not.
Ganeshan was not my student. He was Professor R. Srinivasan student, Girirajan student.
Okay, Madras grand student.
And then Venkatesh is my student. He worked on magnetic refrigeration. And then there were 2 others. One is Baladitya Surya. He was a BTech student. Another BTech student was Murali Rajagopalan. He worked in NVIDIA.
So it's great actually, it's a pleasure to listen to you about your achievements and the legacy. And I look forward to such a meeting when you both reach 100. Really. Because these days people talk about super agers, age is not a problem. You live up to 100. And IIT is very proud of you.
Should live.
Right.
Yeah, all of us should live.
Exactly. So thanks a lot. It's wonderful. It has been a great experience meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor
You and
Baskaran.
Rangarajan for a long time. It has been really my privilege and pleasure to be with you and talking to you.
It's
Reminiscing
our
old times.
privilege to be with you.
Stay with us too.
Something which I have written about what I would like to tell future generations. The present and future generation of students fill me with pride, happiness, and optimism. There are a few points I would like to tell them. They are the following. 1. Fill your lives with a lot of fun. Enjoying what you do is the key to success and satisfaction. 2. Stop being myopic and busy doing nearly nothing. Broaden the scope of your interests, pastimes, and pleasures. 3. Refrain from doubting everything. Have confidence and faith. 4. Have a thought for your fellow men and fellow women in everything you do. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. All you have to do is to act. Never worry about the results thereof. They will automatically flow to you. Jai Hind.
So thanks a lot. Thanks to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.